Hello, everyone, and welcome to this video where we're going to be looking at some case studies from coaching of problems and solutions that some of my coaching clients have had and resolved by working with me. The purpose of this video is to show you concrete examples of problems and goals and resolutions for those problems to demystify what coaching is. And just to let you know that coaching is one of the tools in the toolbox that you have available to you, together with things like therapy, training, mentoring, and so on. And if you're going to stick around until the end of this video, you're going to get a gift from me. So I hope that will make you curious enough to stay with me and follow along these three coaching case studies examples. So, today we're going to be talking about three case studies. The first of them being the situation where someone, a former client of mine, wanted to work on getting their first leadership role. So let's call her Mary, it's not her real name, came to coaching confused and unsure of how to prepare for her first leadership role. She didn't know what her transferable skills were and had a little confidence in her ability to change from her specialist role to her leadership role, even though she wanted that career change. She was used to doing operational work or execution type of work very well, and she was also attached to her work, and she liked her company and her role and her team. She knew she didn't want to do this execution operational work anymore. She wanted to be involved in more strategic projects. She wanted to coordinate people, but had no idea what these projects would look like and how she would do the people coordination part. She used to work overtime, put in effort on detail-oriented tasks, and had a large volume of emails and many calls throughout the week, throughout the work week and every day. So no wonder she didn't leave time and space for her to reflect on her goals and on her plan to becoming a first-time leader, this first-time leadership role that she wanted. But through our work together, I guided her with questions and reflections to clearly define what she wanted from this leadership role and from this next step in her career. Then we worked together to identify concrete milestones and aspects of the job that she will focus on and planned these specific steps and tasks. We checked in each session to determine what she did, what she worked on, what worked well, what didn't work well, basically overall what her progress was. And through our work together, she identified her transferable skills and what skills would contribute to her first leadership role, defined three major pillars to focus on in the following year that she would want to get closer, that would get her closer to this leadership role. That would be people coordination, project management, and strategic projects rather than operational work. Then she took on projects that align with those pillars, where she had this coordinator role and worked with colleagues from other countries to train them. She also mentored newcomers on the team. So all of these pieces of the puzzle built this image of her that she would be prepared for her first leadership role. She became an informal leader. Her manager recognized her as such. She also gained self-confidence by noticing this evidence of her great work. And she then went on to be trained herself for a new role that she has been preparing for, and that would get her closer to this leadership position. As I was saying, her manager also noticed the shift and acknowledged her work, and she's considered for this leadership role now. The next case study is about a career transition. So here we're looking at Sam, who's also not their real name, that came to coaching unhappy with her current role, with low self-confidence, with a fear of networking also, and attending industry events. She started out wanting to bring more balance into her professional life, and then her goal became to change roles from a more admin role to a more strategic role and to move to a different job in a different company. She wasn't feeling fulfilled in her former company anymore. She felt unhappy, she felt dissatisfied, she felt demotivated because a big part of her daily work was this tending to admin tasks, and she felt she was wasting her time and her energy. And she knew she could do more because she was doing more strategic work before, but her role kind of came to a standstill with this admin work. She was deep in negative thinking when we started working together about herself, about her job, about the world, about the industry. And that stopped her from taking action to make this career pivot and stopped her from applying to jobs and stopped her from having the interviews that she would have liked. But throughout our work together, I guided her with questions and reflections to get out of the negative thought patterns and develop her ability for non-negative thinking. So that was the first bit. Then we worked together to define her ideal role, what it looked like, what it contained, what the daily, weekly activities would be, and discovered the steps she needed to take to find this role. We then checked in each session to determine what she did in her search and what worked, what didn't, what her overall progress was. That helped her keep momentum, helped her start and continue applying to roles, refining her role, her job search until she got the role. And through our work together, she increased her self-confidence. It was at a low point when we started. It increased significantly over the course of around 9, 10 sessions we worked together. Then she changed her negative patterns of thinking. Not that there's no more negative thought in her mind ever again, but she's able to see possibilities, options, not just this one way type negative thinking. She started a side project that gave her energy and that gave her the boost to be able to then go and attend industry events and keep on going to these industry events. She definitely defined her role, what she wanted from her next position clearly, and applied to those jobs that match that search criteria. And I'm happy to report that she got this role in a different company, in a more strategic position. She's the head of that department now. And what we did together was to prepare for potential tricky interview questions before she went on to these interviews. And she started and continued with these industry events that I was mentioning, expanding her network, meeting people who work in this relevant industry that she was seeking to still work in. So she targeted these applications, the job applications, knowing what she was looking for in that role and got it. And case study that I wanted to present to you and give you a bit of more information about how things work, what a problem could be when we start working together on your mindset and career challenges, and where working together could lead you. And the third and final case study is one of changing from employee to solopreneur. And in this case, we have Alex, again, not their real name, that came to coaching feeling lost and stale and bored and thinking that he's not making an impact in his work and his role anymore. He's starting out having multiple ideas about changing his job. He was thinking about maybe moving into a similar role, but in a different company, or maybe pivoting to a new role in their company or a different company, or making a career transition to start their own business as a coach. So these multiple ideas were rattling around in their head. They weren't sure which way to go. But he knew that he didn't want to be in his current job much longer because it was boring. And he wasn't sure about his strengths, his abilities. He was constantly quite self-critical, and that created a passive attitude in his day-to-day life, in his day-to-day work life, and led to a degree of procrastination in his efforts to research and decide on their next career path. But together, working together, he first figured out which of these directions he wants to take, and he decided to go the coaching route, and then started to do research in deciding about the coaching school. So I guided him through these questions and reflections again to identify his strengths, his skills, his abilities, and to get rid of procrastination. We worked together to define the criteria for the coaching school and do the research. He made the choice and enrolled in this program. We checked then again in each session to determine what he did, what worked, what didn't work, so what the overall progress was with the research, with getting into the coaching school, starting it off and keeping it going. And through working together, he found his strengths, values, his mission, what he's motivated by. He identified this new career direction clearly, and that this direction would align with his values, the discovered values. And then he started to execute on the plan. He found his motivation, he found his why for this radical career change, and made the decision to become a solopreneur coach. He's now working to get there, working to learn about the skills and apply those skills, get the experience, and get thinking about starting the business. So he researched and decided on the specialization he wanted to have as a coach and prepared posted content on social media as a side and moving along with learning the coaching skills. He defined a structure for his future services, and we worked together to define the ideal client or the client avatar and explore a coaching niche. All of this more so on the business side of things than the profession side of things. So you can see there's quite a diversity in situations that someone might have when we talk about career challenges, problems, and resolution to those challenges. It's quite personal. Even if two or three clients come to coaching with the same problem, their resolution might be different, or the path to get there might be different, or they might discover that the initial problem wasn't really the problem by working together with me. So what I wanted to leave you with at the end of this video are a few questions for purpose. So I'm going to share my slide with you here. So you can take a screenshot or you can just pause the video here and go through these questions that hopefully will help you to move closer to your purpose when it comes to your career. So take a few minutes to reflect and answer these questions. The first one would be, if all jobs were paid the same, what would you do? What would you choose to do? The second one is, what would you do for free, if we reverse it, if you already had all the money you've ever wanted? Then what impact do you want to have in the world? When we talk about purpose in our careers and shifting, transitioning, pivoting, it's important to look at the impact we want to make through our work and make that meaningful career change. And who do you want to make a difference for? Because when we talk about pivots, when we talk about career transitions, which are quite significant career changes, it's a good idea to anchor the why, to anchor the impact, to anchor the who do we serve, right? Who do we want to make an impact or a difference for? So those are the questions, the big, high level questions that I would ask someone if we were to work together in coaching and we were to look at defining purpose or finding purpose in work. I hope these are going to be useful for you. So do take the time to reflect on them, to answer them. And if you want to share the answers with me, I would love to hear them. Message me on LinkedIn, message me on Instagram, or go to my website and message me from there so that I know what you've discovered as well. I'm really curious to find out more about you. Thank you for being here today and learning more about how coaching can help. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week. Looking forward to chat with you one to one.